Let's switch up and talk a little bit about Clemson for a minute. And I know
do we
that
have to, do we have
yeah,
to?
I was going to say we'll get to Florida State here in a minute, so you can we'll both suffer after having some fun. Just big picture, and I they're not, same thing with Florida State. Like they haven't been featured as much just because they haven't been winning enough. Now, kind of a good finish to the season. The bowl game I don't care as much about, but kind of a good finish to the season. Like Dabo showed a lot of passion there late in the year when they got a big win on a Friday night at Louisville and they were all excited. But like, just thoughts on where they are as a program, and can you expect kind of a bounce back, maybe not to like the glory days, but a bounce back to just respectability?
Yeah, I hope so, right? I think so too. But last year was such a shock. It's kind of hard. Like it's kind of, I'm in the mode now. And listen, I'm a former player, former captain, played in a national championship. I have 2 degrees. Like I love that place. Let's not get it twisted in any form or fashion. But when you get burned of that magnitude, where you're thinking this is the number 1 team in the country, this is the national champions, and they win 7 games. I mean, that's tough. That's brutal to see with the talent that they had. And I saw somebody put out a list the other day, and they had 5 top 50, prospects for the NFL draft that's coming up. How does that have 6 losses? How does that only have 7 wins? I mean, that's crazy to sit here and think about that on top of the talent that's still there. I mean, look at these wide receivers that are going to be monsters that all stayed. Look at some of the defensive linemen and linebackers. And, so it's one of those things, brother, where you're just kind of frustrated. And it's not that I don't trust the man, because I totally do with my entire being, but you just have to see it. And it's one of those things where I don't have high expectation for Clemson this year. And it's one of those where I think the respectability part is can we get back to that? Can we get back to me not watching the tape and seeing loafs or seeing crazy MAs that make no sense, like linemen that have been there for 4 years just going the wrong way? I mean, things of that nature, that's what frustrates me to the nth degree. If you get beat, if you just lose, is what it is. It's a game. There's only one winner. That's hard. But when you beat yourself, that's where just I pull my hair out. It's all gone. It's one of those things. So, I think the addition of Chad Morris is fascinating, because when it, to be totally transparent, when that first happened, I was like, I don't know about that. It feels weird. Like why? And then hearing him and seeing his vision and understanding how, he's approaching this, pretty jacked up. I like it. I kind of like his attitude. I like the way he's thinking about this. He understands, the game has changed, and he was the architect that got Clemson to places it had never been before. And so I think they're now, after kind of hearing, seeing, whatever, kind of his attitude and mindset. And really, I mean, he had some fire. Like he was kind of talking a little shit, which I like, just about we're going to do things differently. And I like that. I think you have to have that. So spring ball certainly will be fun, just to see that. And I hope I make it up there to see a couple practices, things of that nature. But that does excite me a bit. Just the fact that they're going to take shots. They're going to commit to the run, things that Clemson hadn't done the last 3 years under Garrett Riley. So I think strictly from that, you will see improvement. You will see a different, better team because of those receivers I mentioned. You can't not throw the ball downfield. I mean, just do it. Let those guys make a play one way or the other. And then on the defensive side of the ball, you have the infusion of talent, going and getting 10 transfers. I think 9 of those are on the defensive side of the ball. Guys that Tom Allen handpicked that are faster, longer, things of that nature that he wants for his defense. Now, are you losing some superstars? Yes. But are you gaining some hungrier, more excited about their opportunity guys? Possibly. And we'll see how that translates. So I do think there will be improvement, but I'm not allowing myself to get too excited thinking that it's ACC championship, national championship, or bust.
With the addition of Tom Allen last year, who actually was here local in Tampa and is really good buddies with my high school coach. And so I was super excited about that from a personal level, but then also just like a Clemson level. Like I thought Clemson went out and picked up the best, Jim Knowles was there too. And obviously ended up at Penn State. And so he was up there too. But like, I thought that was going to be the best addition, and their defense really at times just struggled. Your perspective on that, is that more of you talked about some of the loafs and missed assignments and stuff. Is that were the issues on defense more about just a lack of familiarity with the system? Like, is there a better jump coming maybe in year two? Was it the right guys, the right fit with him maybe? And so the transfers maybe factor in a little bit better to where, Clemson's defense used to just be like strike fear into people's hearts. And, this year, not to take anything away from Duke, but you've got Duke coming in and putting up 46 in Death Valley. Like that, like think about that statement when you were playing. If Duke came in and put up 46.
That wasn't happening when I was playing, let me tell you.
No discredit to the current champions, but still, like that's just like that doesn't happen at Clemson, right?
It's not happening. It's not happening.
Thoughts on year two under Tom Allen? Hey guys, I'll get right back to the interview with Eric Mac Clain of the ACC Network and former Clemson Tiger. If you appreciate this content or you just like the perspective that Eric's bringing you, this is part one of a 3-part series I'm doing with Eric. Would love if you hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss the other 2 parts. We appreciate both his time today and you guys for watching. Make sure you are subscribed to ACC Football Addiction so that you don't miss anything there. You may already be subscribed to College Football Addiction, but this is our ACC only channel. So if you haven't subscribed here as well, do me a favor, click the button right now. Right back to the interview. Here we go.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to be so different because the personnel, I mean, literally, you're talking about like 7 starters changed. Oh. And so it's going to be a totally different looking thing. And I think the odd thing was the pass defense was so horrific. I mean, it was the worst that I think Dabo has ever had in his era being at Clemson. And so there was a lot of weird reasons for that. You speak of Duke. I mean, we have a safety who's transferred to Georgia, and they're really excited about it. The game's going into halftime. You have one job, get deep, and he's like playing the middle of the field, the short middle, and there's a 70-yard touchdown happening behind him, and you're just like, what? Why does this keep happening? Why do guys keep running wide open and free? And obviously Clemson made a change at the safety coach position and hired, Tom Allen's son there. And, coach thinks he's going to be a beast. He thinks he's going to be a coordinator before long. And so having that addition of talent, not only on the field, but in the coaching ranks, how does that affect? So I certainly think there will be improvements. I think there were improvements. It's weird. It's like they improved some places. They got drastically worse other places on the defense. And so can you meet in the middle somewhere and, have a respectable defense? And then we start getting back to, imposing fear and what, oh my gosh, where are they coming from? What coverage are they showing? They know what we're doing, all these different things. I think that starts to crank up either towards the end of the season or next year.
From a player perspective, since you've been there and you've done it, and I know that Clemson was a little bit different spot when you were there, but last year they went into the season with so many expectations, and when that was quickly pulled out from under them, it kind of similar. Now the season wasn't as disastrous, but kind of similar to Florida State in 24. It felt like when your season was over before September was over. It feels like, what do you really have to play for, right? Like, and I understand like the intrinsic, like, man, we go out and we give our all and all these things, but does maybe just the reset of expectation for this specific year, not necessarily the program expectation, can that help? Like, it's not national title or bust like it was last year when you're coming back with Cade and you're coming back with all this talent. It's kind of just, instead of being the hunted, we are the hunter. Can that help from a player perspective of we've got something a little more to fight for?
I would think so, just because that is a lot of pressure, right? And listen, I never dealt with that as a player because we were building. And my senior year, everyone thought it'd be the next year that Clemson was really good. Now they were, and they won the Natty. But that year we were 14-0, number one, wire to wire in the college football playoff rankings there, and played for a national championship. No one expected that. So we didn't have this insurmountable pressure on our quarterback, on our team of you've got to win. You got to win every game. We just did, and maybe that team can harness this. Maybe that team can do this because they did finish well. Again, bowl game was disastrous. Like you said, who cares? Did we watch? Do we not? But they went on a great run there. And it started with, getting, that loss to Duke in the Valley where, that's not good. You just keep losing at home. Like that's kind of the starting point is defend home turf there, get that back to being what it's supposed to be, but also just play free. No one expects anything from you. You're living in the shadows right now. And what do you do with that? What are you able to harness? And what can you make sure you feel on the inside that then that starts to go outward? I think that's important because it may be what happened last year is all that pressure outside started getting in. And it was insurmountable for him.
Eric, I know it's the off season now, but what do you guys have going on? Where can people follow you?
Yeah.
What are you on right now as far as shows and different things that you've got going? I know you do a podcast as well, but where can people find all that?
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It's great talking with you, first of all. And, we've got 2 podcasts. So Aaron Murray, former Georgia quarterback, and myself, Mac and Murray, you can find that over on YouTube. We kind of are a more national broadcast and look at a bunch of different things. We'll be putting out some reviews, some recaps of the season. And then my girl, Kelly Gramlich, on Gramlich and Mac Clain, just ACC focused. We will start that as well for like the top 10 teams in the ACC. So you can find that anywhere on YouTube. And then we'll take a little bit of a break on TV, man. It kind of goes with college football. So we'll kick it up when spring ball starts and maybe some draft stuff, things of that nature. But it's nice to be home and to be able to play daddy. I'll tell you that.
To chill a little bit. Yeah,
That's
this
right.
last month and a half has been insane. So, Eric, thank you so much for taking the time and hanging out, bud.
Appreciate you as well. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Clemson fans, we appreciate you guys for tuning in today, letting us chat with a former legend of the Clemson Tigers. We appreciate Eric for his time. If you missed part 1, you can click the video on the screen right now to go check it out. We would love if you subscribe so that you don't miss any of our future content coming on ACC Football Addiction, and we'll see you on the next one.